Well, greetings, viewers and voyeurs. Gothatfunk here. I don't do it so much these days as I used to, but once upon a time I used to frequent charity shops here in the UK and pick up classic old books from certain authors and or just old books that looked interesting or funny. And this book is both. You know how sometimes you're going through life and someone will say, life doesn't come with an instruction manual. Well, actually, it does. Real life problems and their solutions. This is a really, really cool book. This cost me 50p in a charity shop, 50 pence, half a pound. And the whole thing is really interesting. It goes right through all the different stages of life, what you can expect from having babies, and the different phases your children are going to go through, how to deal with the different sizes of different families, what sort of emotional issues your kids are going to come up against, and so on. It also deals with yourself and starting off life in the world and getting married and settling down, and what you can expect from middle age and what you can expect from old age and all this kind of stuff. Fascinating book. And I'm sure in 1935 this shit was cutting edge, man. But it is kind of amusing and quaint in its way as well. So I'm just going to share three passages with you because I think they might surprise you when you think about 1935 and what the stereotype for people like me who didn't live in that time. I can only go on basically films and what you learn in history and stuff, but you don't actually know what it was like. So it's always fast. That's why books are so great, because books are always of their time. Anyway, there's little passages throughout and little sort of several paragraphs talking about various different phases or aspects of situations that you can expect from raising kids or whatever. It is in this part. And yeah, I'm in the childhood section, and the chapter is the child in the home. And this is obviously when the kids are still very little. And the top of this heading is, how do little girls and boys differ in character, and when does that appear? And the book goes on to say, a writer on child life has said that all children are little boys until 5 or 6 years of age. That is to say, they react in much the same way to the same things. But although this statement may be partly true, particularly in big families of boys and girls, to the close observer there are signs that at a very early age differences in character are to be noted. Little boys, as a rule, do not tend to show very great interest in people apart from their parents, and the entreaty to go to dear auntie is often ignored. But they love to touch and handle things within their reach, and a new object of interest will seldom fail to make big appeal. Little girls, on the other hand, often like to attach themselves to adults, and they are quite content to be spoken to and petted and given evidence that they are making an effect. The healthy boy of 4 is often more aggressive than the girl of the same age, and gives signs of a more dominating nature. Of course, there are always effeminate boys, and there are little girls whose early behavior gives no promise of them ever becoming ladylike, but the majority of normal children develop on the lines as stated. After the age of 6 or 7, wider differences in character will begin to show. You can make of that what you will and tell me what you think in the comments section. I'm going to be moving on not too much further for this next one because this is actually good advice, I think, for this part, but it's interesting the way they put it. And the title of this section is Dangers of Taking Sides in the Home. Nothing can be more selfish or cruel than to coerce a child into taking sides to encourage him to obey one parent and disobey the other. Children who have been witnesses of brutality, callousness, or gross deceit on the part of a parent or near associate seldom forget, and these incidents may influence their own conduct throughout life. The woman who complains that her husband has no respect for her opinions and rides roughshod over her every wish little suspects that his earliest years may have been spent in a home where one partner habitually browbeat or belittled the other in front of the children. It may seem a big thing to advise husbands and wives to try to reconcile their inner difficulties and disharmonies, as well as their more obvious differences, but it is enormously worthwhile for them to do so. What may seem surprising to some is that smoldering anger or jealousy in a parent will often show itself in fits of uncontrollable temper in the child, or displays of obstinacy and defiance. Children reflect the hidden emotions of those about them, and it is most unjust to punish them for the shortcomings of parents who poison the atmosphere of the home by their anger and selfish moods. For this reason, many a scolding and whipping are undeserved. The really astonishing thing is that, considering the almost incredible blindness and ignorance of some parents, so many children continue to survive without sustaining more injury from to their natures than seems outwardly to be the case. For there is no class of society which is exempt from censure in this matter, and it is safe to assert that in many of the poorest homes there is a greater sense of unity and purpose than exists in some of the houses of the rich. Yep, 1935. One more, guys. This is going on towards sort of a teenage, and adolescence, school life, and social problems is the chapter, and this one is titled "Extravagance in Dress Must Be Avoided." Some adolescents occasionally cause their parents anxiety by extravagance in their dress. 1935. They adopt an ultra-modern fashion open to criticism. Oh, sorry, I skipped a line. They adopt an ultra-modern fashion lacking in good taste and thus almost ludicrously lay themselves open to criticism. A boy will wear a Wild West hat with an exaggerated crown. A girl an almost transparent blouse. Self-expression in dress should certainly be encouraged within reasonable limits, for it is one of the greatest aids to confidence, and when mistakes of choice have to be pointed out, parents should be careful not to ridicule. By doing so, they may lose any further chance of influencing a sensitive son or daughter. It is sometimes a chance remark that carries the greatest weight. One mother had tried without success to induce a tall, well-built daughter to give up wearing an exceptionally short skirt. The girl evidently enjoyed seeing people stare at her when out walking. One day, mother and daughter happened to be in a large clothing store. A well-dressed lady, obviously of good circumstances, was talking to a shop assistant and said, "Of course, no one with the slightest pretense of taste would wear a short skirt today." The girl overheard. The mother made no comment, but the same evening the offending garment was handed to her with the remark, "I'm sick of this beastly color anyway. It can go into the rag bag." An adolescent will often act upon a hint like this, especially when it comes from a respected quarter, where an express wish or direct command from parents would only confirm their obstinacy. 1935, man. I don't know if you guys find that as interesting as I do, but I find it fascinating, and I just think it's hilarious as well. Let me know what you think down below, and until next time, may all your ups and downs be ups.